Hello everyone, this is Takoshi Hitsamaru. Welcome back to my channel. If you guys caught my last video, you'll know that that was a really long video. Thankfully, this one is not going to be like that. It's actually going to be a series of videos to end the year with. 2018 was actually a pretty good year for me. It started off a bit wishy-washy, but it got better from there. I got my diploma in graphic design, and I actually started an internship, which is going to lead into a job early next year, so that's awesome. We also conceived our third child, and that's also coming in January. I've reconnected with old friends and reconnected with family members, things like that. It's been a pretty good year. Another thing that's happened is that it's been a good year for gaming. Although I haven't played all the newest games, in fact I haven't played most of the newest games, I've been able to witness other people play them and get an idea of what they're like, and from what I can tell, it's been a good year for gaming. So this series of videos that I'm going to be making is basically my favorite games from this year, or rather games that I played this year, because it doesn't necessarily need to be games that had released this year. In fact, there's some games on here that are pretty old and I hadn't played until now, or I rediscovered in 2018. I hope that you will enjoy these videos, and here's the first one.
Devil May Cry.
The first game on this list is actually something very, very recent, and it's the demo for Devil May Cry 5 on the Xbox. Let me start off by saying that I'm a huge Devil May Cry fan, but I'm not much of a Devil May Cry player. What I mean by that is that I love the characters, I love the world, I love the stories, I love the anime. Most people didn't even fucking like the anime. I love the comics, all that jazz, right? But I'm not amazing at these games. I'm not terrible, but I'm not really all that great either. Out of the way! I finished number 2, number 3, most of number 1, and all of the reboot. So, yeah, that's what I mean when I say I'm not a good player. Devil May Cry DMC was very different, and they did change things up quite a bit for new audiences and, old fans alike. And a lot of people didn't like that, which is fine. I happen to, and that's okay too. But regardless, I was excited when I heard they were making a fifth one, and when I saw there was going to be a playable demo, naturally I downloaded it as soon as possible and gave it a whirl. I want to get this out of the way right off the bat. If you die in this demo, you actually have to restart the entire thing. That pissed me off a little bit the first time I played through it, because I played through the whole thing, did fine, didn't really get, didn't have that much trouble or anything. And then when I got to the boss, which is the last part of the demo, I died. I think I got his health to a little bit past halfway or something, and then I got my ass handed to me. There's a million excuses for why that happened. Some of them, pretty valid excuses, and some, maybe just me complaining. But regardless, the fact that you had to restart the entire demo, it irked me. It irked a lot of other people as well, so I think that hopefully that's not going to be a feature in the full game. Anyway, with that out of the way, yeah, I really enjoyed it. They've taken a lot of mechanics from Devil May Cry 4. Obviously, it's a direct sequel to that, so it makes sense that they would take mechanics from it. And I heard that they've changed up some of the controls. From diehard fans have told me this. I didn't really notice it because I don't really remember the controls from 4, but a lot of familiar shit is back. You play as Nero in the demo that I played. I don't know if they're going to be releasing 2 more demos for the other playable characters, Dante and V. But that remains to be seen. So you play as Nero. He's got the Red Queen, as he did in Devil May Cry 4. It still functions pretty much the same way. You know, you can charge it up for a more powerful attack or a series of 3 powerful attacks. The combos are very similar as well. You know, you have one that covers a lot of distance. You've got some that will juggle enemies in the air and lift you in the air as well. Yeah, you're able to use it in aerial combat for just basic combos too. That's all familiar. The Blue Rose is also back, which is his signature Magnum. It's much cooler in this game. I think that they've done a really good job on the sound design for this thing, because now it actually sounds like you're fucking shooting. You still don't do a whole lot of damage with it, but it doesn't sound useless like it used to. So as you know, on Devil May Cry 4, the Devil Breaker that Nero used was his Devil Arm, and that was, you know, literally his Devil Breaker. So he had attacks where he could grab an enemy and pull them close. He had ones where he could grab the enemy and throw them. And I'm pretty sure he could also use it as a grappling hook, because why not? It's a grappling hook, right? You gotta have one in pretty much every game, especially if it's Japanese. That thing was pretty cool. But in Devil May Cry 5, you no longer have that Devil Arm. If you've seen the trailers for the game, you know why that is, because it gets freaking ripped off. But it is replaced, and it is still referred to as Devil Breaker, if I'm not mistaken. And now you have a cybernetic arm. And this is actually invented by the daughter or granddaughter of the person who made Dante's pistols. She designs this cybernetic arm for Nero. And the way that this thing works is actually kind of strange. You have 2, maybe more actually. In the demo, you only have 2 different variants of it. And one of them is basically, it's like a Tesla attack. You're able to use electricity to shock enemies. And the other one is kind of like a force push sort of thing. You just kind of create this barrier in front of you for a couple of seconds that pushes enemies back, or sort of crowd control, I guess, is what you would use it for. I cannot for the life of me remember what they were called, but obviously on screen in the video you'll see what they're called. But yeah, the way these things work is kind of strange, is that you cycle through them. You have a certain amount. Usually I think you start with 4, I want to say 4. And when you use the special attack for one of them, it will break. And when it breaks, it doesn't come back. You have to pick them up as if they're ammunition. And these arms are scattered throughout the mission zones in the game, and you pick them up as you go. In this demo, basically, you use one up, and then it will cycle to the next one. Now, you can't change to the next one unless you've used up the first one. Which means you need to be really careful in what order you pick them up if you completely run out. And also, if you completely run out, you will actually not have a fucking arm at all, because you won't have an arm, right? So the game will show that, literally, and visually. What's cool about that is that they actually show the reload animation for the Blue Rose as being him able to do it with only one hand, which I think is great attention to detail. Props to the animator and the artist who figured this out. It's really cool to see that. He puts it under his arm and yeah, he reloads it like that. That's pretty cool. There are also moments, there was only one in the demo, but there's a moment during the boss fight where to get out of an attack that he's doing, you need to break one. And I'm not sure how big of a role that's going to play in the rest of the game, but that's how it was there. Anyway, I've talked your ear off about the fucking Devil Breaker. Jeez. The game is really pretty for a Devil May Cry game. Like, 4 looked good, DMC looked great. This just looks above and beyond. They've gone for a very realistic style for the character models and the world details and that, and it's really paid off in my opinion. Yeah, what else can I say? The demo was fairly short. There's actually only about 4 enemy encounters in the entire demo, not including the boss, and there's about 4 or 5 enemies in each encounter. Some are tough, some not so much. In terms of the overall difficulty of the demo, I would say it was very accessible, except for the boss fight. Main reason for this being that you don't have a lot of time to learn how the boss moves and how he reacts to things, his attack patterns. And because of this, it is very punishing the first time you do it, because you don't really know, for one, the controls. I mean, you've only been playing for like maybe 10 minutes before this. And you don't know how all the systems work to their, their fullest advantage. So you're fighting this boss pretty much blindfolded. To the systems, unless you've died and then restarted and done the whole thing again, then you maybe have a bit more skill. But yeah, it turned out to be pretty challenging to beat this boss. Another thing that I sort of want to touch on here is that during the boss fight, and I'm pretty sure they've done this on purpose at, was it Ninja Theory? Ninja Theory makes these, I think. Well, I forget that wrong. It's going to look really stupid. I'm pretty sure Ninja Theory makes these games, and Capcom. I don't know if they worked on this together or if it was just one or the other. Excuse my retardation for a second here. But anyway, they've done this on purpose, so that they've added in this boss fight a ridiculous amount of destructibility. At the start of the fight, you're on top of a building, right? You're on the roof of this building. And during the fight, the boss will actually smash the ground, and you'll fall through into the bottom level of the building. And like rubble collapses everywhere all around you, and then he'll do these attacks which take out the pillars of the building. There's an attack he does where the wall gets completely blown out. And at this point, just kind of on a whim, I was like, you know what? I don't want to be standing this close to you in this like slowly collapsing building, so I'm gonna leave. And I literally walked out this hole that he had created, and crazily enough, the game let me. I walked out into this even bigger arena, and he's still in there thrashing around like an idiot, and I've completely left the area. And then he just continues to destroy the entire building until the whole thing comes down. And then he starts fighting me in this big arena. I've never really seen that in a Devil May Cry game before, obviously. I'm excited for this game. I might not buy it, but I'd love to play the full release at some point. That's that.
Give him a little taste of the good shit!
Denied.